And Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
Is it time to replace your home comfort system? Call Bryant and save money in every way. Bryant provides you with solutions that save. Save big immediately with attractive rebates. And save every day with lower operating costs. Most important, though, the systems are selected to fit you. The right system, priced right, properly installed. That's the way Bryant works for you. How much can you save? Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing for a free estimate. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
The weekend is here and you and the boys need a place to hang out after your day on the golf course. Lucky for you, that place exists at Liquid Assets Sports Bar and Grill in South Lincoln. The 19th hole at the course is great, but it doesn't have 30 TVs showing all sports with 23 beers on tap. You can enjoy all of that at Liquid Assets, as well as delicious smash burgers, wings, and much more. Don't end your hangout after the golf round ends. Get to Liquid Assets Sports Bar and Grill at 2755 Jamie Lane.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown. 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker and one more.
DeMornay Pierson-El.
Not only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome in. Don't Punt Hour. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. We got the morning Pierson-El streaming in. You guys can join in. 402-464-5685. We do got Royals as they are playing the Yankees again tonight on the brick and mortar. But like I said, use the streams or 402-464-5685 if you guys want to join in. If you're listening, that means you found the streams or the ticket app. So congratulations. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And we're going to talk a lot of NBA out the gates here. And then possibly, if you got time for it, some college football as well. And more just broad picture stuff on the Husker football team. And good morning, Pierson-El. Before we get to any of it, how's it going on a very, very beautiful Wednesday?
Not too bad. Enjoying the day halfway, through the week. One day closer to Friday.
Amen to that. And it is a fantastic week. I'm sure there's a lot of people looking forward to it. I'm sure many people in the Lincoln area are going to be making their way to the College World Series. We will be out there come Friday, Blur Events Tailgate. If you guys want to buy tickets yourself, say what's up, or hang around and talk to the guys outside on their way to some of the games. But we'll be out there, I think, pretty much all day on that Friday for sure. So, like I said, if you're heading to the College World Series, Blur Events, I believe at the Hilton in Omaha. You can say what's up down there. And we'll maybe get to College World Series as well, because there's also the entire SEC crumbling that we haven't gotten to yet. But let's talk about the NBA. We'll talk about coaches. But first, there is Game 3 tonight, 7:30 Central Time. Big one for the Pacers as they're finally back home. Good morning, Pierson-El. Who do you got in Game 3?
I'm going with Indiana. They kind of typically, once they have like a kind of off game and everything like that, they typically bounce back with their enthusiasm and their antics. They're going to be home. The crowd is going to be behind them. I think they're going to match their energy. They had a lot of turnovers in Game 2. I think they're going to clean that up a bit. And I think players typically play well and better at home. They know that floor a lot. So, you might see, them hitting their 3-point shots that night. And I think that will be a huge difference.
Yeah, this is such a crappy thing for like to strive for, because I don't think you really can for it. But like Pacers got to get more free throws. It's unfortunate, but like we mentioned it yesterday, like you look at Tyrese Halliburton, he definitely didn't have a bad game. He just wasn't the superstar we saw. 17 points, but he was 7 for 13 on the night. But he had 0 free throw attempts the entire day. And on the flip side, let's go look at the Thunder superstar, Shai Gilgeous. He was 11 for 21, worst shooting night. 34 points, though. How'd you get that? 11 for 12 from the free throw line. And that's not dissing Shai, but Shai's just really good at drawing free throws. And what was the total here? So total free throws attempted was 33. They made 29. And on the comparison, Pacers only made 19. So that right there is the difference in the game. Is just free throws. OKC has been so good all year long getting defenses out of position. It's not just all foul baiting. So if you're the Pacers, really play hard defense. Try not to give in. They're going to throw some flops, but
they can't live and die by the three. Like, and I think that's something they've been doing all postseason. And when they're hitting, it's on and everything like that. But you can't let that, run your game. And that's a part of it. That's fine and dandy. I also think the refs are allowing them to play physical. So, and I think oftentimes with some of those turnovers and everything like that, when opposing teams have been driving, they kind of expect the touchy foul and everything like that and not kind of play through things. They're strong enough to play through it. Even if you got to beat them to the spot, you got floaters that you can get off. There are other things that you can do necessarily to get you to the free throw line and everything like that versus just sitting there and, flopping and trying to get the calls. So I think they have to be a lot more aggressive and play strong ball to kind of get that going to get to the free throw line tonight.
Yeah, and that's a good point. They took 43s in that game too. Maybe that's a fine number if you're shooting really well, and they were just shooting okay, about 35% on the day. And when you're playing OKC, that's not good enough. Yeah, it's good enough to beat some of the crappier teams, probably good enough to beat, my Chicago Bulls. But when you're playing the number one team, number one defense, they're going to force you into a lot of bad threes. And if the Pacers want to settle for it, yeah, I think you get a lot closer to the possibility of a gentleman's sweep. I don't think, if they'll be able to squeak one more out, especially when they get back home into Indiana. Well, this one will be in Indiana. Whether it's 3 or 4, I'm not sure. But if they continue to just huck up threes, unless they're having an electric night, I think that's playing right into the hands of the Thunder. Because you go back to the free throws, it's a low number, not because OKC is so good at flopping, but to your point, Pacers aren't attacking the lane enough. And they are letting them play. Yeah, it feels like a little bit of tic-tacky. Why the Thunder are getting all these calls? Well, the Thunder are attacking. They're initiating the contact. Sometimes are they flopping to accentuate the contact? Yeah, but they're still initiating it, so you're going to get the benefit of the doubt. You just don't see nearly as much of that on the Pacers. Siakam's really good at it. And to your point, the MVP of this Pacers team, he's kind of been that consistent guy keeping the offense going, and a lot of that is just his ability to attack the rim and not settling for jumpers over and over and over again. What does Siakam and Halliburton have to do to win this series? Not just tonight, because I think it's probably going to come down between those two guys on the Pacers.
I think with them being the OKC being a strong defensive team, I think they do a really good job of taking away what players like to do. I think Siakam has to be a lot more active. He has to get to his spots. He has to, be a lot more aggressive, attacking the rim and everything like that. You have to make them foul you. You got to kind of make them feel your presence and everything like that. I think it might have been game 2. I don't think he had a strong showing. But Siakam has to make his presence known at all times. Like, you have to apply pressure. You have to, take the lead with that. What Tyrese. You can't take nights off. This is what people dream of. This is the end all be all to get there. It's not easy. It's not easy to get there. And who's to say, you're going to get back there, next year, you know what I mean? So he has to show up and be more consistent and not have an off night, not have a slow night and everything like that. His match making and his playability has to be consistently every night. Both of them have to score over 25 points apiece. Like that. That's just bare minimum to keep, the hopes and chances, floating alive. If y'all are not doing that, if they're not getting those points or whatnot, I mean, it's going to be easier for OKC. Both of them have to be aggressive. Tyrese, I think he has to create an annoyance on the defensive side. I think, he can be a bigger threat in transition with, if that's baiting and stealing passes up top, because he gambles a lot. Mm-hmm. He takes chances a lot and everything. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to hit, and then even if you get that going into the other, going back the other way, you got to finish it, And you can't just go through the free throw line and hopefully, that'll bail you out. You got to get the and one because that's applying pressure and, that's keeping OKC on their toes and whatnot. And their offense will be a little bit more difficult to kind of get, involved and whatnot. And then, on the defensive side, you can't let Shea get 30. Like you just can't it's going to be hard for anybody, to match up that. So kind of get him flustered, get him off of his game and whatnot. And that's just not those two. I think that the team holistically, you have to give him, a bit of a challenge, make him work a lot harder, and don't let him get to his spots easier. Because once he gets to his spots, whether it's an assist, whether it's a lob, whether it's finding the right man, or taking or hitting a shot and everything like that, he's getting in his groove. You can't allow him to walk up and make things comfortable for him. You got to make his life a living hell night in and night out. And I think that'll give you your best chance.
Yeah, right now, I mean, Shea just looks really comfortable out there every game, like really comfortable getting to his spots. And that's going to be the challenge for Haliburton is how much do you got in the tank? He's kind of with, I'd say, a much less tougher playoff run, but he's kind of at the point where he's going to have to pull off like a Dirk playoff run. Fair or not, that's the guy he's become on this run. So every single time we get to those moments late in the game, he's going to have to answer because he's just become that guy. Everybody on his team believes he's that guy. So, I mean, he's just going to continue to feel off that. Again, not nearly as tough a road as what Dirk had, but in terms of just clutch moment after clutch moment, beating the team that said, no, we're going to write you off. This is where you fall. Okay, maybe you made it to round 2. We'll drop here. Round 3, definitely not. Finals, nobody was picking the Mavericks to beat that Heat team. Pacers got to kind of have that kind of run where just keep using that fuel. And if you're a Haliburton, I mean, most overrated player, there's some similarities there of being incredibly disrespected by your own NBA peers from the superstars themselves. Now you're on the biggest stage and you got an opportunity to give the biggest middle finger that Dirk gave since Dirk, really. I mean, that's the opportunity that lies for Haliburton. And for Siakam, yeah, I just want him to be even more aggressive. If you can start getting Hartenstein frustrated, all of a sudden he's a little early foul trouble early in that second half. Now Chet Holmgren has to start maybe getting more involved than he likes to. He has to put more energy, effort on defense as opposed to offense. Takes away some of those, quick, fast breaks. If he's got to be down there on the block, grabbing rebounds as opposed to just taking off because Hartenstein's back there, got it carried. I think Siakam is going to be the key to a lot of it. Haliburton just has to stay consistent. I think up his defense on Shea. I keep him under 30 is a good rule. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that the entire time, but more effort there. And I think if you can lean a little bit more on Siakam, hopefully that opens up things for Tyrese Haliburton because he's had games where he's had horrible quarters 1 through 3 just for him to go off in the fourth quarter. So keep him consistent. I think Siakam does what he does. Then you won't be banking on a Naismith plus 5 threes in the fourth quarter games. If you just get consistency from those two. I'm going to go with OKC, unfortunately. But that's my 2 cents on it. We'll have to see how it plays out tonight. Like I said, 7:30 game 3. Just for the fun of it, do you think the Kings, hindsight being 2020, are just absolutely kicking themselves for letting Tyrese Haliburton go? Because Haliburton was deeply hurt when they let him go as well.
No, I don't think they're kicking themselves. I mean, yeah, it's woulda, coulda, shoulda, but you never know what situations like that and everything like that. You know what I mean? So it's they felt that it had gotten to a point of no return and moved on or whatnot. So I mean, it's one of them. It's not one of them ones where it's like, oh, we knew for a fact, like it was gonna be that. Like, no. So I mean, it's one of those ones that like, yeah, it stings, but it's like, all right, well, it worked out for him. Good for him. Good luck to him, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it worked out. I just remember I was pretty shocked by it because with Kings, he was really starting to find his groove. You certainly didn't see this version written on the walls yet, but he was really starting to pick up his game. But at the same time, I don't know if it ever gets to this level without getting down there with Snyder and the Pacers crew. I mean, that's been a blessing to him in disguise. And really, Siakam's been there last year, it's a year and a half since they got Siakam. That was the thing that's really unlocked Tyrese Haliburton's game. Like Siakam being there for a year and a half, that Pacers team just became completely different, and it gets lost in the fold because of how awesome Haliburton's been in the final moments. But yeah, I don't know if he'd ever become that player without finding the Pacers. And more importantly, just shows you how important it is to have a good role player alongside with you. And that's not fair to call him a role player. He's another all-star. He's been in there before.
He's an NBA champ. Put some respect on him, man.
All-star, NBA champ. Absolutely. He's a phenomenal player. And, small market team to small market team. He doesn't always get the love he deserves, but that guy, he's just a problem. 3-level scorer, defensively, can be all over the court. Shout out to Pascal Siakam. Cameroon, isn't he from?
I'm not sure.
I want to say he's from Cameroon. Could be wrong. You guys could correct me on that one. But there you go. Just another really good foreign player that entered into the NBA League who's got the Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and they win this series. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the Finals MVP as well. All right, with that being said, let's move on to some of the Knicks woes. Are you surprised that nobody wants to coach over there after they fired Coach Tibbs? Everyone thought Mike Malone was going to be the plug, but we haven't heard really anything out of Denver or Mike Malone. Instead, we're hearing a lot of these other options get shut down.
I mean, it's still early. The season is still going on. So I mean, of course, you're gonna hear names out and put fillers out. So I mean, I don't think it's not a high job that's winning, but I mean that's hard to follow up. A guy takes you to the Eastern Conference Finals, and you let him go. He I mean, out of the 5 years he's been there, he's been successful 4. So I mean, it's just you really have to feel like you can mesh with what's there. It has to be the right coaching change to kind of get things going or whatnot, or else I mean, you'll be out of there quick.
The only thing that concerns me is like the teams that they're talking to, the season is over. So I would think those teams would be willing to go ahead, especially the draft is coming right around the corner. I mean, it moves a little bit quicker in the NBA once your team's eliminated, but just put it in perspective, is still early. It's not like they're going to walk into next year without a head coach. But so far, Mavericks coach Jason Kidd got denied there. Not allowed to speak to him. Dallas gave a firm rejection. Who else? Minnesota's Chris Finch and Houston's Ime Udoka also said, absolutely not. We're not talking to you guys. Great, smart move by Houston. You're not taking Ime Udoka.
No.
Minnesota, you're not taking Chris Finch. So those would be tough sells anyways. Jason Kidd, if you're a kid, you're going to want to see what happens here with AD. You're going to get Cooper Flag. You're probably going to want to wait and see what that looks like. Who is the last?
You're the man in Dallas. You've won a championship with him. Like, he's not eager to leave anywhere. Like, no.
This one shocked me, and this is why I'm like, this maybe not great. Quinn Snyder, Atlanta Hawks head coach, also firmly denied.
I mean,
that stink at all yet? They're not even that.
I think that they're just putting fillers out there to kind of I don't want to say it's like the Rooney Rule type situation, but you're just out there just kind of everybody gets an option and everything like that. And if it happens, okay, cool, fine and dandy. But I'm pretty sure they have at least 3 candidates that they really, really feel like that they could get or would like to have.
Well, I think that's the problem. I think Jason Kidd they thought was going to be one. It sound like they really wanted him, so you can cross him off. But I still think Malone's at large. Just because we haven't heard anything on it means he's open to it, and he hasn't just flat out denied it yet. And maybe they would report on it, but maybe it's just not out there yet. I still think he's probably out there at large, but I'm a little bit shocked about the fact that Snyder shut it down. So I was like, maybe that whole thing, the pressure in New York. Clearly, it wasn't good enough with Tibbs, who brought that thing out of absolute irrelevancy. So maybe that's part of it as well. And yes, the East looks nice, but again, you're Quinn Snyder. You're on the Hawks. They've kept you around for not necessarily great seasons. You go over to the Knicks. You have a couple bad years. You're probably gone.
Yeah, you're really gone for sure.
So I think there's some serious pressure in New York, and that's what we're seeing a little bit there. Because I just, Coach Tibbs, did him dirty, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, everybody coming in has to look at that situation and be like, because of the outcome of that, that might not be, as desirable place, because it's like He wasn't doing anything bad. I mean, you seen what the Pacers did. Within a few years, they got they made a run the year before last year, or last year they went back to the Eastern Conference Final for the first time. This year they're in the finals. Like you were right there with Tibbs. Like it's not, you're one piece, the one right piece like away from doing that. You Boston doesn't scare you anymore. Like you've slayed Goliath. Like okay, what now? We just got to follow that up with next year, and you decide to get rid of that. Honestly, after a very very successful season, other coaches might be like, you know what? Nah, there's no loyalty with that. Like, why would I, even entertain that if you punish a guy for, losing in the conference champion? Like, that's crazy.
Fired him at his peak.
Each year, he outside of year 2, I think.
Yeah,
he's gotten better than it was the year before. Like, he was definitely knocking on the door. I think Tibbs will definitely have another job soon. Like, he won't be too far off from that. Hopefully he just doesn't get Cat anymore, because that's 2 jobs. That's a small correlation. If I were him, I would leave Cat alone.
I would too. Ironically, some frustration around Cat too. Apparently, not just from Tibbs, but teammates as well. Just with some of his lack of effort at times. Put it at best. Just murmurs here and there, but I don't know how much well-loved Cat was at the very end there. Certainly, Tibbs probably has his own thoughts on that whole situation. But, yeah, I don't know what the Knicks are going to do. If it's not Mike Malone, I don't really like much of the other. Considering you got rid of Tibbs, you need to fill it with a coach that I trust and I know. Unless they got some, new coach coming to the league that they know something everybody else does, great. Go for the gamble. But, again, it's like you're up in Vegas, and it just feels like they threw it all on red again. For teams that the Browns are like this, the Knicks have been like this. The Jets are like this. Giants are like this. For some reason, I should stop saying for some reason. You know why some professional sports teams just stink always? Ownership isn't very good, or the GMs aren't very good, and they consistently gamble when they start making the right moves. They just piss it away.
A lot of them, they make emotional decisions at the wrong time.
Yeah, and then you get stuck in that cycle because then you start, doubting everything every 3 years, especially in the NFL. I think the average tenure is just over 3 years. So every 3 years, you're getting a new GM and you're getting a new philosophy in there. They got to work with the coach. The GM's got to make a splash because they know they're going to get canned if they don't get some results quick, because the guy who was just there got a ton of draft picks, but he got fired before he could use any of them. So then you always see the new GMs make some stupid big splash play. Like, as soon as they're in, let me find my superstar. Let's go make a splash move. Very rarely does it ever work, and I think that's a cycle you see a lot.
Travis Hunter.
Exactly. You're going to see that is a perfect example, because I can't remember exactly what they gave up, but it was a lot to move up just a couple of spots. What was it, 2 first-round picks? And then
I believe so.
Might have been like 3. It was something absurd, but I'll have to double check on that. Final thing on the NBA, though. We'll leave the bad teams alone. Kevin Durant sweepstakes. They're officially here. San Antonio Spurs, apparently one of the suitors, callers. What team would you want to see Kevin Durant on? Then you think a team that would make sense for him and actually put him in the seat to go win one more ring?
Or the Knicks. I think that the Knicks are the best fit. Like, then you can kick Cat, and Cat not kick him, but Cat doesn't have to be on the perimeter. Like, you're a big fella. Like, what? Like, you know what I mean? You're not Joker. Like, you're not Anthony Davis. Different type of playing style, different type of monster. Can you step out there and do some things from time to time? Yes, but you're not a guard. Like, you are not. So I think if you get Kevin Durant in there, I think that takes the weight off of Brunson so much, to where he doesn't have to be, as magical and everything like that. Bridges, can play more of a better role. I mean, he started to figure out his role later in the season and everything like that. I think you just plug and play Durant in there to where it's like Durant, you can get us a solid 25 easily with picking your shots, and we can kind of roll off of that. So I think that would be, I think that like big media marketplace, the energy there, the Mecca playing at the Garden with stuff. I think that's the best fit for him. San Antonio, like, who really pays attention to the Spurs? Like, if Pop was there, maybe a little bit different, but we don't even know what the Spurs are going to be with Pop being gone. You know what I mean? So that's a bit of a situation. I know Chris Paul is there. I know Wemby is there. I know Fox is down there and whatnot. The West is loaded. The West is loaded. Like, why not go to New York and you joining that team and everything like that, get you at least to the Eastern Conference Final, at least that. Boston, you'll be even better, fit for them. That path is way easier than the West. And like you don't have to be the guy that saves everybody. Like you can literally play for fun. You can get your buckets easily and everything like that. And if we get into a game time to where maybe sometimes you got to put on a cape, then cool, fine and dandy. But hopefully, it doesn't get to that because of the other weapons that we have, around there. I think that makes the easiest jump. Like, it's not hard. His family's on the East Coast. Everybody can come up from DC. That'd be easy. So why not there?
New York makes the most sense. I do think. Let me see if they would have to move money around for it, because the most sense would be if you're obviously the Suns. I'm trying to make sure if he's unrestricted or if he's still got restrictions on him. If he's not, the 25-26. Okay, yeah. So this will be the last year heading into it. He'll be unrestricted 26-27. So if you want to make this work, move him on this year. Knicks make perfect sense, because if you're the Suns, you don't want to get screwed over.
No.
What does Devin Booker need? A big. Who's good? Carl
Cat.
Match made in heaven. Right there. Win-win. Because I think Jalen Brunson and Kevin Durant, do you see any issues with those two being able to share? I think perfect fit. Jalen Brunson runs the show. Kevin Durant can do pretty much what he did on the Warriors. Step in, put the cape on when he needs to, and he'll be glorified for it. The Knicks don't care as long as they're winning.
You can find you a big body defensive big. You don't, as long as you can average 10 to 15 points and get you double digit rebounds and maybe 8-9 blocks or whatever, that's what you need. You just you need to beef up on the inside and everything like that. They'll be fine and dandy. I mean, Durant for Cat. Oh, I bet you a lot of people will take that any day.
100%. And if you got to put a little bit of gravy on it, if you're the Suns, I think it's worth it. I mean, you're gonna piss away Devin Booker's run if you don't get someone who's around that same age and who's not just as talented, but at least an all-star caliber player. If you get a bunch of picks, it's fine, but like then you're going to end up.
You're restarting. It's the same thing over and over again. Like it's not going to change, and it's like you really need to get a big and a guard in there to where Booker can play the two.
Yeah.
Like Dwayne Wade, like early in his career, Dwayne wasn't necessarily bringing up the ball. That he was a scorer. You get into your set, and all right, have flash, do flash things like that. Like that's what you need. You don't need Booker, handling the ball, bringing up the ball so much or whatnot. Like put him at a natural 2. I think what he was doing in the Olympics, he should be able to do that on a team. So I don't understand. You see the capabilities of what he can do and everything like that, and not just defensively, but again, put him in a role to where he can run around, kind of what Steph was doing in his early career. Like, okay, then we can kind of base things off of that.
Yeah, and then you still, I'd imagine you get to hold on to Bradley Beal, and all of a sudden Bradley Beal makes way more sense. Because he can just be that ultimate 6-man off the bench. Like, that's a 6-man of the year award winner if he comes off the bench. And, like, I don't know how much players really care about starting anymore. It's just about minutes played. I mean, if he's coming off being that 6-man, he comes off, Devin Booker comes off the court, insert Bradley Beal. Maybe
it's your show. You can do you.
You can do small ball, too. If you got a great matchup, and you're like, you got nobody that can guard both of these guys, especially with Cat in the paint. All right, now you can play that, fast-paced, high offense that you guys initially wanted to play with Kevin Durant, but you quite literally had no big. So no matter how many points you could score, you could not get any stops. And that was the problem that everybody saw a mile away. But once again, GMs, big splashes. They like to make them, and that one failed horribly for the Phoenix Suns. Be curious to see what happens. I do think that makes the most sense. Other ones have been heard. A tough one to get them over there. Milwaukee. It's been Giannis.
You don't even know if Giannis is going to be there. So, like, they're not even.
Giannis is going to stay, according to him.
They're not a contender, though.
If you had Kevin Durant, does it make him a contender? Damian Lillard, Kevin Durant, Giannis?
No, because that's a lot of people that needs the ball.
Yeah, okay.
Dame hasn't even been Portland Dame since he got there.
Don't shoot the messenger, Morning. I'm not.
You're wasting Dame. Like no, KD's not going there. No.
All right, I agree with you. That one's a bad fit. I think the Spurs would be fun only if he's okay with not winning, and I don't think he is. And then I think he's
been a part of that too long, from Brooklyn to the Suns.
Mm-hmm. And if he had, I think there's still some of that connection there with Popovich. It's very different because he's just kind of like an overseeing president operations now. So I don't know how strong that one really is. That's the only one I could maybe see. But it does feel like Knicks seems like a home run for everybody involved. Like those are two teams where East, West, you're not going to play each other a lot. You're both going to fit your teams, in my mind, a lot better. I think that's a hard one to pass up. And I don't think either team would have to screw each other over with picks or anything. Because this to me seems like the ultimate gentleman's shake. Each team could win here, and they don't have to worry about playing each other in the playoffs unless they both happen to make it to the NBA Finals. That being said, we are way over on time here. We'll talk some Husker football on the other side, broad picture stuff. Don't go anywhere. Don't Punt Hour. Good morning, Pierson-El, Harrison Arns. Talk to you in a bit.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Life changes, and sometimes that means changing where you call home. Whether you're downsizing, growing your family, relocating, or facing tough times, you shouldn't navigate it alone. I'm Laura Bonta-Bush with Woods Rose Realty, and I'm here to guide you with all your real estate needs. As wife of football coach Bill Bush, I understand the importance of teamwork and making sure you are supported every step of the way with honesty, integrity, and compassion. If you're looking for a game plan to buy or sell your home, text the word HOME to 402-534-1919. That's HOME to 402-534-1919.
Staying healthy and comfortable starts with the air you breathe. If you're noticing more dust, odors, or allergies, it could be time for duct cleaning from Bryant. Pure Air starts with cleaner air ducts, hair with enhanced filtration and purifications options, and the difference is amazing. When the air you breathe is clean and fresh, your home smells fresher, and your family is healthier. Time for cleaner air in your home? Call Bryant for a free estimate. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Lincoln's new craft cocktail lounge is Bar 48 in Lincoln. Located at 2639 North 48th Street, Bar 48 offers everything from cocktails to beer to wine and so much more. With summer right around the corner, you can always enjoy Bar 48's frozen beverages. Follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on their live music performances every Saturday night. Make plans to visit Bar 48 on North 48th Street in the heart of the University Place neighborhood today.
A1 Automotive's second location is now open at 5110 State Hill Drive, just off of Yankee Hill Road. The new location continues to specialize in all makes and models and provides personalized service as they have for 15 years. To honor the new store opening, A1 is offering $25 off any service over $300, $50 off services over $500, and $75 off services that total over $750, all through July 31st. Schedule your appointment today at a1autolincoln.com and visit their new location in South Lincoln at 5110 State Hill Drive.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
Is it time to replace your home comfort system? Call Bryant and save money in every way. Bryant provides you with solutions that save. Save big immediately with attractive rebates, and save every day with lower operating costs. Most important, though, the systems are selected to fit you. The right system, priced right, properly installed. That's the way Bryant works for you. How much can you save? Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing for a free estimate. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
The weekend is here and you and the boys need a place to hang out after your day on the golf course. Lucky for you, that place exists at Liquid Assets Sports Bar and Grill in South Lincoln. The 19th hole at the course is great, but it doesn't have 30 TVs showing all sports with 23 beers on tap. You can enjoy all of that at Liquid Assets, as well as delicious smash burgers, wings, and much more. Don't end your hangout after the golf round ends. Get to Liquid Assets Sports Bar and Grill at 2755 Jamie Lane.
This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back in. Possibly the final segment as we went long on the first one. We're going to talk some Husker football, but first, before we get there, I glossed over this because we didn't have time, but I got to ask you, we did get to the House versus NCAA settlement, and within that, it did say in the past, let me get the right number here. So, yes, a $2.8 billion payout over 10 years to former and current Division I athletes.
Woo!
You were a sophomore, 2015.
I get 2 years, 16 and 17. I'm good to go.
Okay, so you're going to be getting a check, right?
Oh, most definitely.
Oh, man. I won't ask you how much it is when you get it, but maybe I'm curious. Just shoot me a text because I wonder how much.
The estimate was pretty nice. I just don't know like how taxes will kind of go into it, or like is the percentage that the lawyers and everything like that, is that already accounted for, and that's just like what is left, or whatever that amount is, like then they'll pull from that. So that's the only question that I really haven't gotten yet. Is that my actual estimate that I will be taking, or is a piece of that still going to have to be given back to two other parties?
I wonder if like you get more, because I'll say it if you don't want to. Like, you were a significant player at the University of Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody got as much limelight, or was as talented. Fine, that's how it always goes. So I wonder if they take that into account, like stats, stardom, or if that's like over the past 10 years, like how do you grade that stuff? That might.
I think it might goes into like they might go into and like kind of count plays. So not necessarily stardom, but if you have more reps or if you have more snaps and everything like that, that might possibly be why some people's balance is higher than others.
That's a fair way to do it, because the only way you can really put that is like, we'll grade the success of the university, how much TV revenue, how many people are watching, how many people X, Y, and Z. Then you don't have to get down to the individual stuff. It's like, okay, this team made a bunch of money. Who is playing the most? Snaps. That's a really easy way to look. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's how they're going about it. But yeah, shout out to you. Well-deserved morning, Pierson-El, and everybody else. I ironically joked about it forever, and it is kind of funny to see that you are now officially going to be getting paid by NIL. Did you think you would ever actually get paid, knowing that, I mean, you graduated 2017, you said?
17,
Yeah. Did you ever think that was going to be a possibility when this first started coming down the road?
No, I didn't. And even if it was, I didn't think it was going to be fair or what the numbers is now. But you count your wins, so I mean, it is what it is. I'm happy to even be along in it, and so I mean, like I said, it wasn't something that I was like, I wish things, this and that. It just happened to kind of play in that, and here I am.
Well, I will say, as part of the media, I've been pushing for a long time for players to get paid. And I think, without my voice, it wouldn't maybe have happened. So a 10-25% cut, I wouldn't be against it. But it is funny. I'll tell you this much, Morty Pierson. I never thought you were going to get your money back. I thought it was gone forever.
I mean, they said over 10 years. So, I mean, they haven't cleared it any too much of anything just yet. I'm pretty sure everybody's still trying to figure it out. And then they'll start stuff. So like I said, I mean, at least it's coming. That's all I care about.
For sure. I'm just pleasantly surprised we got here. I genuinely am. I thought this was going to be too much just to get NIL. It's like they're not going to want to touch anything from the past because it'd be too many complications. The universities would be yelling about.
I don't know why they went from 16. Like I don't know why that was the specific years they started from and then moved on to.
I'm sure it was just money. Like, how far back do we want to go? How much?
I wish they would have went back to 14. I'd have got 4 years.
Or you just better be happy that they didn't do like the last 7.
Yeah.
And then just cut off completely, because they picked a pretty random number is what it feels like. So who knows what that cutoff could have been. But no, like I said, shout out to everybody who's finally getting their due cut. Sucks for anybody in 2014. That is a
2015.
Or yeah, apologies, 2015. That is a huge bummer. If your senior year was 2015 or whatever year and you had an injury and had to retire then and there. But with that being said, I wanted to confirm that because I always put that together. Did they reach out to you? Email, phone call? What's that? How do they reach out?
For what? Like
you don't give me like extreme who sent you what, but like, are they just reaching out to people via email? Like, hey, you played for the University of Nebraska. Here's an estimate.
Well, you had to get your your NCAA like ID number from the university, and then you had to go in there and fill out and like make sure that your information was correct in there, and then from there and everything like that, like they've sent out kind of updates to the situation, or I typically go to the compliance office because it's hand in hand, or I'll send a message down there and ask okay, what does things look like, or what should be the next steps, and kind of go like that. So I've kind of hit it on both ends.
Okay, that's for any other Husker athletes. If you're in that era and you think you make some money, there you go. Sounds like you got to be the one to provide. Like, hey, I am a real person. I am DeMornay Pierson-El. I played at the University of Nebraska. Here's the proof. You're the one that's got to bring the proof.
Yeah, like you have to go through. You have to jump through their hoops, and then they calculate your whole thing or whatnot. And once your information is submitted and everything like that, they have your contact information. And then from there is just, whenever something goes on or whatnot, they'll either send you an email or somebody would call.
There you have it. If you are someone who needs that money, do that. Because I wonder if it's like doing.
It was a deadline. Like you had to have it. You had to have it in like earlier this year. Like so it's like you can't like hop in it now. It's like you had to be in the like the pool before like they closed down and everything like that, because that was before everything was done. That's before the ruling and everything like that. So like they had to make sure they had an official number. So if you didn't get your NCAA eligibility number and everything like that, and kind of put your information before the deadline, I think the deadline was like sometime like in April, maybe March at some point in time or whatnot. Because they kind of put some of the guidelines of like certain things that you can expect out. So
that makes sense. I guess, it's like an auto insurance claim. The pool is infinite. Putting your claims first before everybody else does. So very good though. Like I said, I'm just a little bit shocked that it is officially here, but well deserved by everybody. Let's talk Husker football for about 10 minutes, and then we'll switch things over to the Malone radio show. And then we got men's tennis head coach as well. 9 to 10, DP will be coming back. Pete Cobalt, he'll be coming down here as well. But Husker football, our offense is really good in terms of yards. If you're going to look at like Big Ten offenses, you would see Nebraska up there with some of the best because we had a lot of explosive plays. But then you'll find some numbers that are just woeful, in particular in the red zone. Third down conversion was really bad. What does Dana got to do just to keep the offense more consistent? Like we saw that a lot. We could move the ball in big chunks, and that's why our offense sat what it did at the end of the year. But red zone conversion was woeful, and a lot of just, we'd get to the 40-yard line, and at the time, not very trusting in our field goal kicking game. So we just weren't getting points despite moving the ball at least a few chains down every time.
I think what he has to do is be more efficient. And what I mean by that is getting to manageable downs, things that should be easy enough for us to convert. 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, under 3rd and 5. 3rd and 5 is a little that's a little hasty. People can, blitz and everything like that. You would like to be under that. So keeping the offense on track to continue to move forward. And then, once you cross the 40, man, you got to score. Like field goals are nice and everything like that, but you have to score.
Field goals would have been gravy last year, just to point out how woeful it got early in the year. I should say middle of the year.
And once you cross the 20, like there's no us not scoring. Like that can't happen. And I think you will see, the numbers of stuff and everything like that be a lot better. And I think with them understanding what the identity is and kind of what we have in the run game and the passing game and everything like that, I think that will make a lot of things more easier. I think for majority of the year, it was kind of a head scratcher. Yeah. Sometimes some halves we would play nice. First half we would play terrible. Second, when Dana kind of took over, you've seen at least, a lot more consistent, effort of things and whatnot. I think the athletes coming back and understanding what they're supposed to, what's expected and whatnot, and taking a leap or whatnot and everything like that. I think things are definitely going to be, thriving. And us having a quarterback that can make all the throws and everything like that, we went out and got some weapons on the outside to stretch the field. And then you got, a stable full of good running backs, but, the main back and whatnot, teams are going to have to decide, do you want to play coverage or do you want to, play in the box? And it's going to, they should always pick wrong, because we should have an answer for stuff. So I think that will help a lot out. Like I said, I know Dana made it a lot more simpler for all the athletes down there. So coming back, they're going to be playing fast. They're not going to be thinking. And he's going to put, the athletes in space that need it. He's going to have our shot plays and everything like that. So I think, the third down percentage will definitely go up. We will be definitely more consistent. You need that. All the good teams, if you look at them, all the playoff teams, I guarantee you their correlation on third downs I would probably say over at least 70% probably. That's really, really good. And then when you get in the red zone, again, like I said, you get to the 20 and in, you have to score. You can't settle for field goals. That's not going to be enough, against Ohio State. That's not going to be enough against, the Texas and those, the Georgias and everything like that.
We got Penn State this year. And I think Penn's on the road.
Yes, I think so.
That's a game right there. You cannot take 3 if you make it past the 40. And you're playing on the road in Penn State, you can't take 3. Because, anytime you get an opportunity to score in that, cathedral of college football.
You got to.
Yeah, the odds of getting back there, it's not impossible, but it's brutal when you're playing in an environment that rowdy. So 100% with you there.
I mean, with Penn State, their offense hasn't really been as explosive as since, Trace McSorley and Saquon was there. Their offense, I would say, since then, has taken steps back.
Yeah, it's a defense.
They just had superstars on defense, so they're going to defend well and everything like that. So when your shots do come, you have to make them because, like I said, their offense isn't anything, absolute like I'm not to say that they don't scare you, but it's not. It's a very Big Ten offense.
Yeah, they scare you in the way that it's like if we don't score here, they might have the ball for 7-8 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to run up the field and light you up unless they have one of the elite running backs at the time, and we'll see what recruits pop off this year for him. But like for everything you see, it's not going to be incredibly explosive. A lot of returning talent, but I think it's just going to be that same grind you down.
Yeah,
a defensive identity team. So like exactly to your point, like you gotta finish when you get the opportunity, and that was the biggest problem for Nebraska last year. Explosive play just to go 3 and out on the next set of downs right after you cross that 50-yard line. The other thing that gives me some hope, I gotta see it though, is how much better would this team be if you could just string phases 1, 2, and 3 together? A good punt, good return, just pinning the other team back. We had a few moments, and then we kind of lost it. Then we blocked punts, blocked field goals. We just always kind of had those woes. What's your confidence level that 3 phases of the game are going to be there this season?
I think they're definitely going to be there. I mean, you've seen it what the difference, coach has brought in the special teams aspect, and that's just not on one side of things and everything like that. You still got Brett there, kicking and guiding the kickers and everything like that. And I think he's definitely done a good job with being more consistent and the kickers being a lot more confident. And there's a method to the madness of the coaching style that coach will bring and what he wants to do and everything like that. And I think that will be more consistent because he expects and he brings the best out of guys. So he knows what it takes. He's done it at the highest level. He's done it with SEC teams. He's done it, with Nebraska back in the day and everything like that. So he knows what it looks like, and it makes it a lot easier when your coach can get that out of you, and it makes it fun and interesting.
Yeah, and Mike Eckler is fun and interesting. He is both of those things for those special teams. So I think he's going to be a big help on that. Also, just to give Ed Foley a little bit of grace too. We just had bad luck with kickers, punters, special teams, like our specialists.
I mean,
since your quarterback going down.
Since Sam Foltz and probably Drew Brown.
Yeah.
Like it just hasn't necessarily, gotten back there. It's been one thing after another.
And that's where, again, this is why I try never to just light up in the coaches, because I'd imagine like your field goal kicker goes down. He's also your kickoff guy. Like all of a sudden you're going to have to spend a ton of extra time making sure those units shore up. And then you show up next Saturday, say you had a Friday night game, you got a short week, you had a quick turnaround, walking into a Thursday, whatever it may be, where you got that short week turnaround. And then pretty soon you got a leaky special teams, and they got a kick return and they're bringing back 80 yards. Stuff like that. I imagine how that happens. So hopefully, talking about Mike Eckler, special teams in particular, this whole team feels like this year, not a lot of excuses. Does feel like a little bit on the edge of a blade here where it's like nothing says we can't do it. So if we don't do it, there's some demons that we got to figure out here. Or it could just fall exactly how we want to when we finally get over the hill. But I think Mike Eckler being there, just having excitement, and then he gets his guy, Archie Wilson, out of Australia. The rugby style punter, you broke that down the other day, how it is much different. So I think if you're Mike Eckler, you got the guys you want. You just hope they're healthy. And then you're just kind of hoping for year 2 of Dylan Raiola. And how good does that look? You see a lot of, he looks like he's grown. Obviously, he's coming in as a young kid. Looks like he's taking his time seriously in the weight room. Give me the jump for Dylan Raiola, year 2. I think it was 14 touchdowns, 11 interceptions in his first year. Might have been 13 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Give me touchdowns, interceptions, year 2. On a wild guess, and we'll get out of here.
You said it was 14-11. I would go 23 to 20. I'll go 25 touchdowns and 7 interceptions.
Okay, I'm not far at all. I was thinking like a 23-7, 23-8, because I think Holgerson's going to be aggressive at times. So Dylan, he's going to be putting some 50-50 balls up at times, which I'm okay with if you feel like you got the better receiver. So there's going to be some.
I mean, I think he had like 2 interceptions or maybe 3 interceptions that actually like weren't his fault. Like the receiver had it, and then the Dez Bryant whatever rule the defender comes up with it or whatever. After it elbows down and he secured it, they ruled it as an interception. I think that happened at least twice, if I'm not mistaken, last year. So
that's once. And then there was the Illinois game as well, where a beautiful throw literally just got ripped out of his hands at the end zone. So I expect a good year for Dylan Raiola year 2. We'll talk plenty more Husker football as we get closer to it. Good morning, Pierson-El. Appreciate it as always. Malone Radio Show up next.